The Laṅkāvatāra Sūtra, Chapter 73. Mahāmati again asked the Buddha, Bhagavan, the Tathagata once said, "Do not associate with those who engage in the various kinds of materialist eloquence. Whoever associates them will embrace desires of the flesh and will not embrace the Dharma. Bhagavan, why did you say this?" The Buddha told Mahāmati, "Materialists employ all manner of expressions, arguments, metaphors, and embellishments to attract and deceive foolish people. They do not accept the personal understanding of what is real, nor are they aware that their projection of what exists is a delusion. Falling prey to dualities, they confuse simple-minded people and also harm themselves and cannot escape their continuation in other forms of existence. Unable to understand what are nothing but perceptions of their own mind, they do not get free of their attachment to projections of external existence. Thus, those who engage in materialist eloquence do not escape deception and confusion, or the sorrows and afflictions of birth, old age, illness, and death." Mahāmati, Shakra was versed in a wide range of discourse and himself authored a treatise on speech. There once was a proponent of materialism who assumed the form of a serpent and entered Shakra's palace and proposed a debate. "I have come to destroy Shakra's thousand-spoked chariot. If I lose, I will acknowledge his superiority, and he can cut off every one of my heads." Once he declared his intentions, he used Shakra's own arguments to overwhelm him. When Shakra acknowledged defeat, he smashed Shakra's chariot, then returned to the human world. Thus, Mahāmati, the arguments, metaphors, and embellishments of materialists, the expressions of which even beasts are able to employ, mislead gods and asuras into becoming attached to views of arising and cessation. How much more so humans? Therefore, Mahāmati, you should keep your distance from materialists because they are able to promote the causes of suffering. Don't associate with them. Mahāmati, even though materialist doctrines number in the hundreds of thousands, Mahāmati, materialists only speak about the realm of sensory awareness. And it will only be in the final 500 years of later ages that they will create schisms, and their mistaken views of causation will flourish and be accepted by false disciples. Mahāmati, when materialists thus create schisms using the expressions, metaphors, and embellishments of other schools, they will do so based on their own reasoning, not on their own understanding. Mahāmati, followers of other paths have no doctrines concerning personal understanding, nor do any of the countless hundreds of thousands of other teachings expounded by materialists teach personal understanding, nor do they themselves realize the foolishness of materialism. Mahāmati then asked the Buddha, "Bhagavan, while the various expressions, metaphors, and embellishments used by materialists and followers of other paths do not involve personal understanding, but rather attachment to their own reasoning, does the Bhagavan not also teach materialism in his exposition of countless different terms to the gods, humans, and asuras who come here from different realms, and not personal understanding? And does he not include arguments that are counted among the wisdom of other schools?" The Buddha told Mahāmati, "I do not teach materialism, nor that anything comes or goes. I only teach what does not come and what does not go." Mahāmati, what comes refers to what gathers and appears. What goes refers to what scatters and disappears. What neither comes nor goes does not arise and does not cease. The meaning of what I teach cannot be counted among the fabrications of materialists. And how so? Because it is not attached to an external existence that does not exist. Dualistic fabrications cannot affect those who dwell on the perceptions of their own mind. The external world and its forms do not exist. Once you see they are perceptions of your own mind, fabrications that are perceptions of your own mind do not arise. And when fabrications do not arise, you enter the empty, formless, effortless, threefold gate of liberation, which is why it is called liberation. Mahāmati, I recall once a materialist Brahmin came to where I was staying and without waiting asked, "Gautama, is everything created?" I answered, "Brahman, that everything is created is the most rudimentary kind of materialism." He asked again, "Is everything not created?" I answered, that everything is not created is the second kind of materialism. He asked again, "Is everything permanent, or is everything impermanent? Does everything arise, or does everything not arise?" I answered, that makes 6 kinds of materialism. Mahāmati, he asked again, "Is everything the same, or is everything different? Is everything both of these, or is everything neither of these? Or does everything appear due to multiple causes?" I answered, that makes 11 kinds of materialism. Mahāmati, he asked again, "Is everything neutral, or is everything karmic? Is there a self, or is there no self? Does this world exist, or does this world not exist? Or is there another world, or is there no other world? Is there liberation, or is there no liberation? Is everything momentary, or is everything not momentary? And are space, cessation, and nirvana created, Gautama, or are they not created? And is there an intermediate existence, or is there no intermediate existence?" Mahāmati, I answered, "Brahman, all these things of which you speak are materialism. This materialism of yours is not what I teach. I only teach that the cause of the 3 realms and their various ills is the habit energy of fabrications and projections without beginning. But because you are unable to see that they are merely perceptions of your own mind, you give rise to projections and objectify an external existence. According to followers of other paths, awareness arises from the threefold combination of a self, sense organs, and sense objects, but not according to me. Brahman, I do not teach that there are causes, nor do I teach that there are no causes. I only teach causation as a fabrication of projecting the existence of a subject and an object. This is not something you or others who accept the continuity of a self can understand. Mahāmati, nirvana, space, and cessation are not 3 things. They are only counted as 3 things. Furthermore, Mahāmati, this materialist Brahman asked me again, are ignorance, desire, and karma the cause of the 3 realms, or are they not the cause? I answered, both of these are also materialism. He asked again, does everything have individual and shared characteristics? I answered, this is also materialism. Brahman, any movement of the mind involving projection of an external object is materialism. Again, Mahāmati, the Brahman asked, is there any teaching that is not materialism? I am versed in all the doctrines of other schools and in the different expressions, arguments, metaphors, and embellishments of their teachings. I answered, there is, Brahman, but it is not one of yours. It is not a fabrication, and it is not a doctrine, and it is not a teaching. But it is not a teaching, and its various expressions are not embellished with arguments and metaphors. The Brahman asked, "What is it that is not materialism, not a doctrine, and not a teaching?" I answered, "Brahman, there is something that is not materialism, but it is something you followers of other paths cannot understand due to your mistaken attachment to the fabrication and projection of external existence. Projections do not arise when you understand that existence and non-existence are nothing but perceptions of your own mind. And projections do not arise when you do not grasp external objects. The permanent cessation of projection. This is what I mean by what is not materialism. This is my teaching and not yours. Briefly, Brahman, if consciousness involves coming or going, birth or death, joy or suffering, disappearance or appearance, contact or grasping, or if it involves attachment to a combination or a continuity, or to a desire or a cause, Brahman, if it involves anything like this, it is your materialism and not mine." Mahāmati, after this materialist Brahman had asked in this manner, and I had answered in this manner, he was silent. Then he left without saying another word. But he thought about his own understanding and said to himself, "This Buddhist monk is incomprehensible. He teaches no arising, no form, no cause, and that once someone becomes aware that what they perceive are their own projections, projections do not arise." Mahāmati, you asked me earlier why I said anyone who associated with those who engage in materialist eloquence would embrace desires of the flesh and not the Dharma. This is why. Mahāmati asked the Buddha, "Bhagavan, what does it mean to embrace desires of the flesh or the Dharma?" The Buddha told Mahāmati, "It is excellent, excellent indeed, that you should think to ask about the meaning of such expressions on behalf of beings in the future. Listen carefully and ponder it well, and I will tell you." Mahāmati bowed and said, "May we be so instructed." The Buddha told Mahāmati, "Desires of the flesh refers to those that involve clutching or letting go, touching or tasting, attachment to external sensation, addiction to dualistic views, and rebirth once more in a suffering body, along with the anxiety, grief, and affliction of birth, old age, and death. All such tribulations arise from desire and from associating with materialism or materialists. This is what I and the other Buddhas refer to as desires of the flesh. This is what is meant by embracing desires of the flesh and not embracing the Dharma. And to what, Mahāmati, does embracing the Dharma refer? This means understanding what are nothing but perceptions of one's own mind, seeing that beings have no self and that dharmas have no self, not giving rise to projections, becoming versed in the higher stages, transcending the mind, the will, and conceptual consciousness, having one's forehead anointed with wisdom by all the Buddhas, embracing and fulfilling the 10 inexhaustible vows, and gaining effortless mastery of all teachings. This is what is meant by the Dharma. It means not falling prey to any view, any fabrication, any projection, any existence or duality. Mahāmati, foolish people, and most followers of other paths, fall prey to such dualities as permanence and annihilation, but not the wise. Those who accept the doctrine of no causation give rise to views of permanence, while those who accept the destruction of external causes and the non-existence of conditions give rise to views of annihilation. Mahāmati, not seeing anything originate or persist or cease, is what I mean by the Dharma. Mahāmati, you and the other bodhisattvas should reflect on what is meant by desires of the flesh and the Dharma. The Buddha then repeated the meaning of this in verse. 1. The different kinds of materialism, the false teachings of other paths, projections of cause and effect, include no personal attainment. Only this personal attainment of mine transcends cause and effect. Thus I tell disciples, avoid materialist views. What is only mine cannot be seen, nor is a divided mind perceived when grasper and grasped do not exist. The eternal and momentary are both transcended. The slightest movement of the mind, this is what materialism is. Unmoved by projections are those who see their own mind. It comes means something appears. It goes means something disappears. Those who know what comes and goes stop giving rise to projections. Permanence or impermanence, effects or no effects, this world or another world, these comprise the materialist way.